Hey guys, today we're going to play a little game. It's going to help us with factoring later on, but it's basically they're little puzzles. They're not super hard or anything. You just have to find product. They're called sum and product puzzles. Sum and product, because we're going to add and we're going to multiply. Okay? And so basically you're going to have something like this here, and it's going to say, all right, what two numbers can I multiply to get 6 to get, and then what, so I'm going to times on the top and I'm going to add on the side. So which ones of these add to 5? And it's got to be the 3 and the 2, right? So we'd put a 3 and a 2 here. So in other words, 3 times 2 gives me the top, and 3 plus 2 gives me the bottom. Pretty simple. But things change a little bit when we put some negatives in there. So let's try another one here. If I have 14 and 9, so what numbers times themselves make 14? 1 and 14, 2 and 7, or in other words, what are the factors of 14? Now, which one of those adds to 9? Obviously, 2 and 7 do. Okay. What about, let's do 6 again. What if I had this? So if we got 6 on the top, what multiplies to get 6? And which of those add to get 7? That'd be this one and this one, right? Okay. What if I make this negative? Now we run into a little bit of a problem, because one of these has to be negative. So if I go negative 3 times 2, that'll give me negative 6, and negative 3 plus 2 gives me negative 1. So that won't work, because I want positive 1. So what if I switch these two? What if I go negative 2 times 3, that'll still give me negative 6, and negative 2 plus 3, that gives me the positive 1. Okay? So that's what we're looking at there. So I already gave you the answer to this one, but if it was like this, then obviously we'd have to go the bigger one has to be negative. Okay, do you see that? The bigger factor, 3 is bigger than 2, has to be the sign of this bottom number here. Okay, so on the one we had a minute ago, the bigger factor had to be positive. If this was negative here, 3 times negative 2 is negative 6, and then positive 3 plus negative 2 is 1. And so my bigger factor again had to be that positive number. Okay, so what if we do this? Negative 6 and negative 5. Now I automatically think 3 and 2, but if they're both negative, that'll give me a negative 5. But if they're both negative and I multiply them, well, that's going to give me a positive 6. So again, they can't both be negative because this guy's negative. Okay, they have to have one of each. So it's going to have to be 1 and 6, or negative 1 and 6, like that. But again, this factor tells me that the bigger factor has to be negative. So I'm thinking it's got to be this. Okay, so we go 1 and negative 6, or vice versa. I could put the negative 6 on this side and the 1 on this side. Either way, it doesn't matter, just as long as one of them is negative. So here we go. Let's say I got 8 and 6. So I got 1 times 8 and 2 times 4. So it's got to be 2 and 4, because 2 plus 4 gives me the 6, right? All right, so now let's go, if I go negative 8 and negative 2. So 1 times 8, 2 times 4. One of them's got to be negative. So if I go negative 2 plus 4, that's going to be a positive 2. So it's got to be negative 4 plus 2, or 2 plus a negative 4. Either one of those will give me that negative 2. And that's what we're looking at. You're going to have a puzzle that will have a bunch of these on it, and I'm going to have you work those out. Okay? Good luck. Let me know if you have questions.